Hey friends, welcome to my garden tour for the month of March. I grow a lot of the food that we eat in our backyard vegetable patch behind me here. It is March, so it is early spring here. There are some things shooting up, and I've spent a lot of the month planning out what I'm gonna do in the garden this year. I am adding some upgrades in this year, a few extra beds, a trellis that maybe you can see in the back, and just overall trying to get even more vegetables out of this patch. I live in BC, Canada. I have a family of 4, and we like to grow as much of our own food as we can. These are our 3 main beds. We've had these for about 5 years. They're holding up pretty good. Over here is my garlic that is just starting to poke up. We had a bunch of thaws and freezes over the past couple months, so I was a little bit worried that the garlic would be turning into mush underground. I planted this in the fall of last year. As you can see in this bed, there has been a lot of plant pots just dumped in here. When a plant dies over the winter, I just come and dump it in the garden and then turn it in before planting, which seems to be working great. I'm planning to do leeks, eggplant, watermelon, as well as lots of sunflowers and borage in here. What is new over here is this archway trellis. This is brand new for this year. It's built out of a cattle panel. My husband put it in just a couple days ago. And I'm gonna grow a couple different crops on here this year. I'm gonna start with snap peas, which I'm actually going to plant today. Snap peas are a cold weather crop, so I like to put them in even before the last frost, which is where we're at right now. I find they get the best harvest that way. And once it becomes too hot for the snap peas, which will be probably around June or July, I will be putting in zucchini and beans and maybe one other type of squash. We'll see. In the second bed, I am going to be planting lofas right here. I've got them started already indoors. They are sprouting. I am going to put some type of stronger trellis. I just had this because I used to grow beans here, but I'm going to make a stronger trellis here for them to climb up, and hopefully we get some fruit this year. I did try lofa last year, but because of the forest fires, they did not produce very large fruit. So I am looking forward to this year. Hopefully I have better luck. In this bed, I am probably going to be putting some tomatillos and tomatoes in here. Over here, I have some parsley that has come up from last year, which is awesome. This is fresh parsley right here. So this has just come up in the last couple of days. I'm glad that it overwintered while I wasn't sure if it would. We do love our parsley in this house, and it looks like we're gonna have lots. And in this third bed, I have a variety of herbs along the sides here, and I'm going to be expanding my herb harvest this year with my new beds, but I have some chives here. This is southern wood, lavender. I have tarragon in here, but it doesn't look like it's gonna come up. We'll see though. And I have some onions that I started last year. Looks like I'll be able to harvest. In the middle here, it's empty right now. This is where I'm going to put my tomatoes, I believe, this year. This is arugula left over from last year. I'm going to wait till we get some fresh leaves before eating any of this because I think this has been frozen and thawed quite a few times. My mint is starting to pop up, which is great. I grow my mint in a pot in the garden. That way it doesn't take over the rest of the garden. And these signs that I made last year are terrible. As you can see, they're totally falling apart. So I'm going to have to figure out a new system for signs. I think I'm gonna just cut up something plastic and use that. This is Greek oregano. It looks like it's still alive. I'm hoping that it is. Greek oregano is apparently quite cold hardy. It's like the original wild oregano, so I'm hoping that I'll have a big patch of oregano here. Here's my lemon thyme. It looks like it's still alive, which is awesome. I put that in last year. Rosemary, I planted cold hardy rosemary last year. I don't see anything popping up, but I know that one can take a little while. I did buy some more ARP rosemary to put into this patch just in case this one didn't come up, and if it did come up, just to have even more rosemary because I use rosemary a lot in my cooking. And this area was nasturtiums last year, so it's totally empty this year. I think I might be putting in bergamot into this area. Now over here we grow grapes. Our grapes had some type of mite for the last few years, so we did cut them back and treated them with sulfur. I am hoping that the new growth does not have that bug. It was a nightmare. It didn't actually affect the harvest of the grapes, but it was really gross, and our grapes kind of grow up around our deck, so it made enjoying the deck a little bit difficult. We also have strawberries in this bed, and as you can see, they are coming up really nicely, which is good. I moved these last year, so I'm happy to see them coming up. Some tulips. These are hyacinths and a rose bush that are just kind of randomly here. Had them here for a couple years and they are doing well. This was just like a grocery store rose plant that I don't think was meant to overwinter, but it has been growing strong for about 5 years. Here is our cherry tree, and we do get a lot of cherries from this tree, but we don't actually eat a ton of them. We leave a lot of them for the birds. They get bugs, and while I know we could spray and harvest a ton of cherries, this tree is so big and we don't really want to prune it because it is such a joy to watch all the birds come and eat the cherries. So it's good for the birds, it's good for the pollinators. Hummingbirds really love cherry blossoms, so it is very joyful to watch them feasting on the nectar every spring. In this corner, I have my Hcap bushes, and they are budding. And if you've never had Hcaps, they are kind of like a mixture between blueberries and Saskatoon berries. They're really delicious, but they're best eaten fresh. So as a family, we'll often just come out here after dinner and just enjoy the berries as a nice little dessert. And back here we have another grapevine, which again we did cut down and treat with sulfur, and hopefully it is healthy and not housing any mites. Trying to grow mushrooms on this rotting stump. Wish me luck. These two pots have clematis plants in that I started last year. Honestly, they don't look like they made it. I'm not sure. We put these wires on the fence in the hopes that the clematis would grow up and fill in the fence with some blooms. I'm going to be adding in some sweet peas as well. I might have to get some new clematis plants, I'm not sure. These pots I just cut the bottom out of so that they would have somewhere to grow, but if they needed their roots to go deeper, they could. And then over here are our raspberry canes. We prune them every second year. That just is kind of what has been working for us. But there are tons of little shoots coming out the bottom, so it looks like it's going to be a really good year for raspberries. We haven't done a great job of utilizing this area of the yard. Last year I planted marshmallow plants in this corner and they did okay. This area gets a great sun, but the soil is quite poor. So this year we are putting in new garden beds, which I'm so excited about. I just ordered them from Vego Garden. We're gonna have 2 beds, so 1 bed here and 1 bed here. This bed I'm very, very, very excited about. These are going to be like medicinal herbs for teas or tinctures, all those amazing things. And then the second bed here, just imagine there's a bed here, is going to be for leafy greens for salads. Because it's going to be a raised bed, it's just a little bit more comfortable to harvest those things on a daily basis, which is usually how we use leafy greens. We come out here before supper and grab what we need. So I'm going to be doing spinach, lettuce, kale, and then a healthy batch of nasturtium to just keep all the aphids away, I hope. Thank you so much for hanging out, friends. I hope you enjoyed the garden tour. I wish you a very happy planting season and hopefully see you in my next garden tour next month.